My name is John Brinson, and I have just completed a book entitled The Black Presence in the Biblical Exodus. I have been encouraged to write this book after 35 years of research in biblical history and theology, after attending one of the best seminaries in America that the white man has to offer, San Francisco Theological Seminary in San Anselmo, California, where I studied Hebrew and Greek languages also. Now, I've written this book, and my hypothesis in this book is the people doing what the Bible claims as the Hebrew-Israelite exodus from Egypt were plain West Coast-looking Africans who were citizens of Egypt during biblical times under Pharaoh Akhenaten, who was the founder of monotheism and the one who instituted into Egypt, that these were the people who left the Exodus when they exited in Marseille, the city of Akhenaten. I've included 2 videos written by white Jewish scholars. One of them happens to be a rabbi. Both these movies substantiate my claims that over 2,000 years ago, the people we call Hebrew Israelites and Jews and the children of Abraham were black African people. Now, I stated the race of these people who put together these videos because the advanced stage of your brainwashing right now, I know that what comes to you from a black scholar, anything black at its origin, you question, you don't know whether it's the truth or not. But if it comes from the pen, if it comes from the mouth, if it's produced and directed by a white man, it might be okay. Here's what I want you to do for me, because I have your interest at heart. The enemy never comes to you with something that will liberate you. I come as a liberator because I want liberation for myself and my family and you and your family. I want liberation for black people everywhere they are. So I come to you with this criticism because I love you, because I want you to change. I want you to understand that we're going to be free. We're going to have to do it ourselves. The book I wrote is called The Black Presence in the Biblical Exodus. It can be secured through Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, or check with your local bookstore. If they do not have it, they can secure it for you. But by all means, if you're black and a right-thinking black person, you deserve to read this book. I thank you.
Because as I think about a prophetic statement from Isaiah.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And we're standing in a village that Jews for hundreds and hundreds, more than a couple thousand years, practiced Judaism.
Right.
And now that they can be part of this whole fulfilling and unveiling of prophecy is shocking to me that we're even standing in the same place, no less a part of what God is doing.
I'm sometimes asked, how do you know for sure that the Ethiopian Jews who are black are really Jewish? And sometimes I feel like answering, well, perhaps they're even more Jewish by their origins than us white folks. Because these people go back in history in an authentic way for thousands of years.
This is one of the places that people were brought to really validate the fact that they were Jewish. A cemetery. Many people came here to see whether or not, in fact, these Ethiopian Jews existed, and they found this cemetery.
Perceiving themselves as Jewish, by their neighbors perceiving them as Jewish, by keeping all the Jewish laws of the Bible, and they did it for centuries.
It tells me that the presence of the Kohen modal haplotype can't tell us anything about the Lemba's religion. Yet just as remarkably, it can tell us where their ancestors came from, and it's not in Africa.
There is this interesting genetic information showing us that some of the original founders did come from other parts of the world, other than Africa. From our data, I would put my money on saying it's the Middle East.
Himla is convinced that Lemba ancestors did indeed come from the Middle East. I'm excited to get back to the Lemba to see what they make of this. And I've got the perfect opportunity. It's the Lemba's annual festival, and I've been invited. It's hard to believe that these people, who to the casual observer look just like the other African communities they live among, actually do have DNA passed down from Middle Eastern forefathers. This proves that when it comes to race, looks really can be deceiving. This annual festival is a chance for the oral history and traditional songs of the Lemba to be passed on to the next generation. This song tells the story of the Lemba's journey all the way from Israel to South Africa. Having traced this journey, I'm eager to hear what Samuel Moeti thinks about the DNA evidence.
So the genetic testing actually proved to the doubters what you and your forefathers have been saying for generations. That must be exciting news.
It is.
I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the Lemba. I knew very little about the people. But having spent time making the journey from Jerusalem down through Zimbabwe, having spent time here at this festival, seeing what your people are all about, I can only sum it up in one word, and it's shalom.
Shalom.
We've seen how science has backed up the claims of the Lemba in the face of years of doubt and prejudice. The archaeological clues, the DNA evidence, and the Lemba's own oral history add up to a very convincing argument.
One of the most challenging aspects to doing this journey and seeing what it was like for the Lemba to go from the northern parts of Israel down into South Africa is that there's very little archaeological evidence on the ground that says definitively this is what the Lemba did. So this is why I think the genetic component is so compelling, because it's hard to fake the DNA. It's in your blood.
It reminds me that first impressions can often be misleading. It was hard to believe that a tribe of black Africans could be the descendants of ancient Israelites. But that's exactly what they appear to be.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.